kiss and hug me. Come on, strong, go on and love me. Let's not waste that big old moon. Wake up and smell the perfume. Just say if you want to be more than friends.
Actually live now. There we go. That was a great way to start. It's Google time. You're watching as the countdown goes. Pretty safe to bet if it says end broadcast that you're live. All right, I know you're not here to watch me babble. You're here watching Social Web Cafe TV interview because we have a special guest today, and his name is Wade Harman. Welcome, Wade.
Hey, nice to be here.
I'm really looking forward to chatting with you. Anything that has the word psychology in it, or for that matter, the phrase Wade Harman in it, and I'm there. So
Well,
I don't worship you yet, though.
Oh, well, we'll have to work on that.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Wade, let's start out by, for those people that don't know you, why don't you start out by introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about you and maybe some stories from your background. We always love stories, and how you got to where you're at now.
Sure. My name's Wade Harman. I run and write for bloggersmakemoney.com. I did not know anything about computers or technology. I live in the Appalachian Mountains. If you can't tell by my accent, I am a hillbilly. And that's not a redneck, but it's hillbilly accent. And most people get those confused. I shy away from doing Google Hangouts because of the accent. I need to get into more of this.
Oh, wait. I don't mean to interrupt you. I love the accent, personally. I am, it's like, okay, talk more. I want to hear it.
Well, it's just you read something on social media, and I've had plenty of people that says, wow, this subliminal messaging post that you wrote, it just like blowed me away. Or this other thing, this hierarchy of needs for the social media user, it was awesome. And then they hear me, and they're like, my goodness, listen to that guy. Anyway, a background about me is I used to be a coal miner, and my dad was a coal miner. His dad was a coal miner, and so it was just a family tradition. And if you live in the Appalachian Mountains, it's a good chance that you're going to mine coal for a living. That's one of the major jobs that we have around here, that and the health industry. So whenever I did go to college, and I got a psychology degree, but there was no jobs for psychologists in this area.
Now, couldn't you go like mine coal and like head shrink the other coal miners while you're working with them, or is that not real cool? Couldn't do that.
Oh no. Those you're talking about. It's a totally different class of people. It's a whole different society when you step into a coal mine, and it's just tough, rough and tough guys that. It's hard work, and they don't want no joking around. They don't want to talk about their feelings. They don't want to, they don't know anything about the internet. They could care less about the internet because
Wow.
They love mining coal. And
I have no point of reference. I'm really trying to imagine that. The closest I can get is maybe thinking truckers. But I imagine that when you say that when they stop at the truck stop, they can let it all hang out. Maybe that's not a good comparison as far as coal mining.
These guys work hard, but they play hard too. So they're rough, and a great example of what they would look like to the outside person is. Have you ever saw that? Did you see that show on Spike called Coal?
I didn't.
Okay, it's on
that.
Yeah,
okay,
it's on
Netflix. All right, I'll look it up.
You can check it out. It's called Coal. It was a reality show of these coal miners that. They work just over the hill from where I'm from, so that's a good perspective of what a coal miner is and does, and the dangers of working underground and things like that. So you have that in your head. That's what I used to do, and one day I got hurt really bad at work, and I couldn't perform my job duties, so I had to quit. And I have a wife and 2 kids. And no knowledge of anything else but coal mining. I've got a psychology degree, but I've already proven that that's not going to get me anywhere in this area unless I move. And I don't really want to leave this place. I love it. I love the mountains. I grew up here and everything, so I didn't want to leave. But I always knew that you could make money online because I've watched it on TV. The only time I got on the internet was to get on my wife's Facebook page. And so I would see the ads make money, make $5,000 a month, blah, blah, blah. We've all seen those squeeze pages. And so whenever I got injured, I just said, you know what, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this out. I'm going to try to make some money. And as it happened, I came upon Bloggers Make Money domain. I bought that, and I hooked a WordPress to it and had to learn as I went, and just started writing and researching. And 9 months into the whole process, I was nominated by Social Media Examiner as one of the top 10 social media blogs of 2013.
Congratulations. That is really, really, really awesome. That's
you.
That speaks to your enduring spirit.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, it was just a nomination. Let me make that clear. It was just a nomination. I did not receive one of the final 10 badges, but I was in that last pick. And so that was somebody that had no idea of how to use the internet. I didn't know how to do HTML. I had to learn everything. So after that, I started really looking into my social media following. I didn't have a lot. I started from zero. And, you see all these people with 30,000 followers on Google Plus or 80,000 followers on Twitter, and you're wondering, how in the world did these people get that many followers? And so I started testing some things and started testing and researching on how I can drive traffic using, hidden methods, hidden meaning methods. And it started working for me. And I said, well, there's something to this. And actually, one day, I like to read some of my college psychology books, and I was reading one of those one day.
You are unique, by the way. Yeah. I think how many people go back to that. I mean, that's beautiful. That's unique.
Well, I was just reading, and I was trying to get some ideas on more hidden messages. And in my head, I was saying, what can I do to make somebody interact with me on my social update and follow me? And how can I drive that person to my site by using hidden messages? Then I didn't realize that I was trying to do subliminal messaging to people in social media. But what I was doing was working. And the more that I would read the psychology books and refresh myself on the things that I'd learned, and the more that I would apply those methods, the more I started realizing, hey, I'm starting to go back to this psychology. So this is social media psychology, what I'm doing. And so I started carving myself out a niche about 6 months ago in social media psychology, doing a lot of research, doing a lot of testing, and it's been downhill from there.
2 questions on that one. First of all, on the testing. Now, you have a book. Is some of that testing, the analysis of that testing, the outcome, is that in your book as well?
Yes, it is, and a lot of it, I don't want to bore people with numbers and this and that. I took the results and I showed people how I did what I did with the results of the book. I don't say, well, 500 people didn't click here and 600 people did click here. I just took the results of what I did and I said, hey, this got a great result. Try this method out, because what works for one person will normally work for someone else. We all have the same the same physiological makeup in our heads. We've all got the same stuff. We've got the brain. We've got the electronic impulses. We've got, we're all physiologically the same, even though we look different on the outside. The inside of us is a perfect match. And so I just said, well, what works for one person will work for another person. If I'm consistent with this, then I can make it work, and then I can show people how it works. And that's how I come to that conclusion. And it's just simpler. Anybody can throw out a bunch of numbers and say, hey, this works, blah, blah, blah. Here's how many people did it. But I take it a step further and I say, this is how you can do it. This is how it can work for you. Say this, and say this, and it's going to make a difference in your social media updating.
Excellent. You also have some people, just recently, I think you told me, there's a couple other interviews that you're going to be appearing on.
Yeah, it looks like that. I believe Martin Shervington is thinking about having me on for social media psychology. We all know him. He's one of the leading guys in this industry. And then a good friend of mine, Michael Bennett, is going to do some, I think, 6 or 10 minute short videos and do a couple of those and try to explain more to people how this task is accomplished. I'm excited about it because it helps me get the message out, because in the end, a lot of people, they say content is king, and while I agree with that statement, I disagree with it in a lot of ways too, because yes, content is king on your site, but I don't know you, so your content isn't king to me. And so and so it's king on your domain, and it's king and it's reigns sovereign to you, but how to get that to overlap into the social media world. When you step out into social media, you're on enemy territory, and nobody cares about your stuff. No, unless you have a huge following, and I'm speaking from experience, because when I started, nobody cared about my blog or the posts that I wrote.
Which is normal.
Yeah, I mean, they go after the people that are popular, the people that have influence, and that's great. I'm all about influence and learning from people that know more than me, because I definitely don't know it all in social media psychology. But when you're trying to get someone's attention and you've just started, or maybe you've been doing it for a year or so and you've still not gotten that path, that thing that you need in social media, that means that you're not really considering the social media update. Yes, content is king on your blog, but you have to transfer that idea and that thought pattern into social media, where when you put the update on there, that update has to be king too, instead of just
in everybody's world, not just your world, but everywhere.
Yeah, everybody has to. I've seen people slap up, on Facebook, hey, check this out, and post a link. They feel like that the job is done when the content is written. But
what does check this out really say to anyone?
It doesn't say anything. I mean, who have you known that's going to check this out? Nobody.
Although I'm sitting here saying this to you, and I'm like, oh wow, have I ever done that? So I'm just going to say now, disclaimer, if I've done it, I apologize.
Oh, I've done it. I've done it plenty of times. And I, a lot of people have. I don't know of anybody that hasn't said, check this out at one point or another. But I think that where we go wrong is, not bringing the idea of importance from your blog to the social media update. So I guess we have a mindset of saying, well, everybody's going to see it, everybody's here, I'm just going to put it up here, I'll definitely get the social link, and we'll hope for the best. But in all actuality, you have the opportunity to put millions of people, to point those people to that article with the right words and with using right hashtags.
Now, I have a case study for you, if you're ready.
Go ahead.
For this one. It's somebody we both know, Eileen Smith. Okay. And the case study part of it, the background is, for example, I run a couple of communities, and it's impolite for me to go and grab an article. I mean, maybe I could, but to grab an article from my blog and say, oh, come look at this, when I'm actually running the community for somebody else. So I'm trying to find usable content without like self-promotion and looking egotistical. So this is like, I've got 10 minutes before a deadline that I need to actually post this. I think, oh, I can go to Basic Blog Tips because there's quality content there, and I know I can share an article that's relevant to that community, and now I've fulfilled my task as far as sharing more content, like a checklist. So why is it that I go to Basic Blog Tips? What is it about Eileen that makes her an influencer and trusting, or did I just answer the question?
Yeah, you did.
I wasn't trying to. This is for you.
No, that's perfect. I mean, Eileen is a great person. Personally, knowing her personally, she's a great person. Contextually, she's a great person. And she writes good. She speaks well. And so she's a well-rounded individual on all points. She is a person of influence. So when people know you and you can make those connections with people. Now, people that don't know Eileen probably won't think to say, "Oh, I can go to Basic Blog Tips and grab an article and share it and do my content curation for the day." How to get those people to know Eileen is a simple task of just consistency and, grabbing people's attention with the already good content that's on her site.
That's a good point, because I've talked to Eileen. I've interviewed her, and listening to her podcast, you get feel. She's got a very warm speaking voice, and you feel like you're in the kitchen having a cup of tea or a cup of coffee with her. And that's a good point. That part of that could be that human connection, that we go back to the basics that we knew before the internet as far as connecting with other humans.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good point. Yeah, because, be yourself. Don't be anybody that don't portray yourself to be something that you're not. I've seen plenty of people that, just started a blog and saying, I'm the top professional in social media. I can show you how to get 1,000 followers next week, and then they got 30 Twitter followers. Don't be something that you're not on social media. People can see right through that, that facade and that act, and it's a good way to not only lose connections but lose influence with people as well.
That's a good point. And Wade, speaking of that, I love how you do it. When you're telling your story, you explain that when you started, you knew nothing about, the internet, and great storytelling ability that you have, but it allows us to connect with you to say, wow, he's not saying that he is, the greatest thing since sliced bread. He's saying exactly where he started, and you still were able to reach that point of success on that 9 month with being one of them considered as far as the best blogs for 2013. Even at your starting point. I think people can really relate to that.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the desire to do blogging or any other type of online business, it basically starts with consistency and it ends with consistency. And consistency is key. Writing, a schedule of social media posting, a schedule on your blog. If you're going to write Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, don't stop. Make sure that you have a post out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. For newer blogs, it's not necessary to do that, but for some blogs that are more, have more of an age on them, then it might be necessary to write 3 days a week. But whatever you're going to do, even if it's with, social media updating and then psychology too, everything is based on the consistency and the level that you give it.
Excellent. What do you say to people that say, I am just burned out. I'm not getting the followers that I want. I'm trying this consistency thing. It's just not working. I want to go play. I don't want to work. Is there any encouragement that Wade has for people feeling that?
I have been there myself, and at times I've looked at my wife and I've said, I quit. I give up. I hate this. Nobody's paying attention to me, and I'm done. But she said something to me one day when I said that. I've said that probably 5 times since I've started. And she said, don't give up now. You're almost there. You ever saw that You ever saw the little cartoon, and it has a man digging a hole, horizontally with a pickaxe, and it shows he's about this far from the gold. And it shows the man below him, there's a man below him also digging horizontally. And he is this far from the gold. And it shows him walking away. But the man that was a little bit further, it means don't give up. You never know when somebody big is going to promote your stuff. I've had a lot of influential people in the past 6 months catch my content, and, it's really opened a lot of doors for me. Socially and with a bigger following and different things like that, but also it's all about consistency. I would say if you feel like giving up, if you're not seeing any results, number one, you can go to my site and click on the Hire Me button, and I can definitely help you with any of that stuff. And the number 2 thing I'm going to tell you is you can't give up. You have to stay consistent with it. It will happen for you. I mean, most people have the idea in their head they're going to start a blog, and in 4 weeks they're going to start making $5,000 a month, and everything's going to be okay. I know because that was what I thought. And did I get a bomb dropped on me when I actually learned what it was really about? And it's going to take you 6 to 8 months. You know, if you don't have a following and if you've just started, it's going to take at least 6 to 8 months before you get any recognition whatsoever.
And I think, yeah, I love that cartoon. I can totally see that based on your description. I love that, where it's like just keep on keeping on. Even if somebody can say, I want to quit, all right, let's wait 30 days. Let's wait 60 days and reassess this, just to kind of keep on keeping on. Keep on digging like that guy in the top that's actually going to get the gold because the other one walked away. That is a beautiful cartoon imagery.
Yeah. Well, I would say this. If you was going to take a break for 30 days, I've got a friend that does exactly the same thing. And that person will take a hiatus and they will stop for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then they'll come back to it. When you stop, you got to start all over again, because people go by recognition. And like I said, if you're not consistent with what you're doing in the social media updates and in the writing the articles, it's not going to help you any if you stop. I mean, yeah, you might want to clear your head and everything, but if you really have a desire to make money online and to make an influential name for yourself, you need to push through it and stay consistent with it.
Definitely. Great advice. So, Wade, how can people find you?
You can find me at bloggersmakemoney.com. Twitter is at MakeMyBlogMoney.
I'm sure all those, as far as your Twitter link, G+, all of those, I'm sure are on your domain as well. So if people get to your site, they can find you and all.
Sure. Yeah, check out my ebook too. It's I've got a new ebook out called Psychological Success in Social Media. It's an easy read. It's very I explain everything. It's on the sidebar of my blog. It's $9.99, and I believe it's worth $9.99 to learn how to drive social media traffic to your blog using those methods. Simple. I
think it's worth more than $9.99 to somebody, even one idea that will help people kind of get over that hump. That's worth more than $9.99. So see, guys, you got to visit Wade's site. Click on the Hire Me, but also grab his book. And you have 2 books, right? You can grab both of Wade's books, correct?
I've got one book that is for sale, and then I've got a couple of books that are scattered through my blog posts. I'm sorry, I don't know exactly the links to them right now, but those are free. So if you look into my site, you'll find them. I can't really remember where they're at right now.
See, all the more reason to spend some time on Wade's site at bloggersmakemoney.com.
Right.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Wade, for joining us. Oh, and also, we're doing a gig together. I almost forgot to say that, as far as the Next Level Success social commentary, along with Charles Terrence Harper. So we've been doing that Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. your time, Wade. I'll get that right, 6 p.m.
Eastern.
Yes, Eastern. So come join us. You'll find it. Actually, you can go to nextlevelsuccess.co, and it takes you right into the Google page as far as where you can see little snippets from past times. And then you can join us at 9 p.m. on Eastern time on Tuesday for the Hangout.
Awesome.
Cool. Excellent. I'm looking forward to it.
Sounds good.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Wade. And everyone,
Thank you.
big round of applause for Wade and all of this help that he's given us here, and all the help you'll get when you visit his website, bloggersmakemoney.com.
Thank you.
Don't you want to kiss and hug me? Come on, strong, go on and love me. Let's not waste that big old moon. Wake up and smell the perfume. Just say, if you want to be more than friends, got some love I'd like to make. Maybe you can squeeze me, I won't break. We could be in a paradise, you and me. Until then, I'll remind you again. Just say when. Oh yeah, until then, I'll remind you again. Just say. Just say when.